Welcome back, dear students. We are now almost at the end of the fourth chapter, scientific thinking and temper. We will discuss these two things, scientific thinking and temper. Now, scientific thinking already we have introduced, we have discussed it partly yesterday through rational thinking, because rational thinking, rational approach to life is the very fundamental of scientific thinking. It is not opposed to it, and actually both fulfill each other. Rational thinking and scientific thinking, rational attitude and scientific attitude towards life are not that very different from each other, they overlap. We have said right from the beginning that these values to a great extent overlap each other. Scientific knowledge seeking means adopting scientific methods to acquire knowledge. That is very important. Science basically means any systematic study. So, when you study even literature, or even if you study history, or sometimes even philosophy, all these can be a systematic study. So, science as a method of study is applicable to all subjects, all disciplines and all knowledges, all knowledge. So, basically scientific thinking and scientific approach involves a systematic study. That is what we mean, that science is basically a way of studying things, a way of knowing things, and it is a very systematic thing. Second thing is that it involves asking the right question, knowledge acquisition through triad or triangle of hypothesis, verification, observing, application of logic, conducting experiments, then concluding and synthesis. Basically, this is two things. One is hypothesis, either on the basis of prior knowledge, you take a hypothesis. You suppose, you must have read in the schools geometry, theorems, and if you recall your geometry teachings in the school or problem solving, if you are a BSc student, of course you continue with mathematics, and even some art students must be continuing with mathematics. They know, and you also know how a systematic study takes place. A hypothesis is taken, something is presupposed, then it is verified, then it is accepted or rejected. That is the fundamental method. So, it is called a triangle, it is called a triangle. Some people call it a circle also. Let us not get into the debate whether it is a circle or a triangle, but whatever it is, that a theory is proposed and hypothesis is proposed. On the basis of the hypothesis, whether it is correct or wrong, it is proved. How do you prove? You apply logic, or you carry some experimentation, sometimes you carry experimentation, and then you conclude and synthesize. So, hypothesis, verification and synthesis, conclusion. Sometimes people talk of hypothesis, first is we give a hypothesis, then we give an antithesis, then we come to synthesis. I am not going into pure philosophical method, and I am not trying to explain to the pure philosophical method. I am just talking about the practical scientific attitude towards life. So, anything that is said to you, or anything that you have formed a conclusion, you must verify. And if on the process of verification, if the verification is found to be wrong, then you reject that. That is as simple as that. So, the key word for us in the simplistic term is verification. So, your friend sends you some message, you verify from 5 other sources, from a more reliable source, is it not? So, and unless you understand that thing, you normally should not accept it as gospel truth. So, you have to understand yourself, taking a scientific attitude. The present age is considered to be an age of science. It is an age of science, there is no doubt about it. Since the 14th, 15th century, in the entire world there has been continuously scientific development. Now, some people confuse that science is a discovery, is a contribution of Europe or West only. No, that is not the case. We all know that right in the very ancient period, the Greek civilization, the Indian civilization, the Egyptian civilization, all these great civilizations, the Chinese civilizations made substantial contribution to science. And in the Middle Ages, the Arabic civilizations made tremendous contribution. And in the modern age, the trend continues. Now, you can say Europe and America made contribution, but today you know the entire world is being engaged in science. Japan is making lot of contribution since the Second World War. Even Korea, South Korea presently, Korea has been divided into two parts. South Korea is making tremendous contribution to science. India is also making contribution to science. So, let us not get into debate and let us not consider whether science is a gift of West or not. It is a gift of the mankind, the entire mankind, and at some point of time some civilization may have made more contribution, some other civilization may have less contribution, but as a whole science is a development out of education and modernity, and it is just not West, it is our inheritance also. So, this age is a scientific age. Whatever problems we have, we seek solution from science, not from religion. Religion cannot solve all the problems. Now, we have tremendous problem of environment. This environmental problem has been created by science to an extent, because when hydroelectricity project were developed, when electricity was say produced from coal or from this or that, some energies were clean energy, some other energies were not clean. But how to solve it? Shall we go back? Shall we go back in our civilizations? Do not use electricity. Go back to lantern light? No. We cannot go back, we need not go back. Science itself is finding solutions even to the problems of environment. So, the problems which science has supposedly created can also be solved only with science. So, when I was a kid or people of my generation were in the school, we were taught or we wrote essays in the school, man's victory over nature. Today, your generation says man cannot win over nature, man must cooperate with nature, and it is only in the cooperation with nature that the civilizations can survive, nature will survive, human beings will survive, you will survive, I will survive. So, that is the difference. Science has come to realize that there cannot be any conquest of the nature. Solution to our problems can happen only through science. Scientific methods of study have come to influence all, and scientific outlook on life and scientific attitude are much more than science. This we will explain little more. How? This is the second most important principle. Most important principle is what is scientific method of study, and scientific method of study is based on verification, explanation. You must explain why, explanation. So, these are the scientific method is the most important. Second most important thing is that it is scientific outlook on life and scientific attitude. I will give you 2 or 3 examples of scientific attitude. I would not like to name, but I had a teacher who was a great science teacher, who was the principal of BJP college also. And what happened is that he went for an operation through a quack. You know, there are many quacks in India who have not passed any medical, they do not have medical certificate, they have no license for practicing medicine, yet they practice. Government cracks down, but many still survive. Every week you will find somewhere the Karnama of a quack doctor. So, he went into a quack fellow and went through some operation. And what happened? The quack fellow did not give him an anti-tetanus injection. and he developed tetanus and he died. Now, somebody who has taught science, who can be considered to be a scientist because he had done lot of research also, and he goes to a quack to get treated. Now, then what can you say? He is a scientist, but he has not developed scientific temper towards life. He should not have gone to a quack. So, that is what makes a difference. I will give you one more example. Once a sadhu, he was a good sadhu, and he was bitten by a dog. His senior sadhu, his guru told him, go to the hospital and take an anti-rabies, because the dog may have rabies. So, you have to take an antidote. If a mad dog bites you, you do not know whether the dog is mad or not, then what happens is that you develop signs of rabies and all that, and you die. Similarly, if a cat also injures you, there is a possibility also. There are many animals who can be dangerous when they attack you. So, what happened is that this younger sadhu told his senior sadhu guru, sir, there is no problem. Why? Because I have done lot of sadhana, the poison will not move upwards. It will remain where it is. I will use my power of sadhana to keep it there. And 1 month passed away, 2 months passed away, everybody was happy that this fellow has shown no reaction. All of a sudden, he showed all signs of the rabies. He was immediately taken to the hospital, but it was already too late, and whole body had got infected and he died. Now, he may be a good sadhu, a yogi, but he has not developed scientific attitude towards life. Had he developed scientific attitude towards life, he would have gone to the hospital, asked a doctor what is to be done, and he would have taken the injection and saved his own life. Similarly, sometimes what happens is that many people believe others. Very recently, an interesting WhatsApp message is getting circulated that cataract is the third most important reason for blindness. Other two important reason is religion and politics. Religion and politics. You can see how not only in India, but in many places this religion creates a kind of blindness. In Spain, somebody burnt down a Quran and there is lot of violence. In India also, there is violence, if not widespread, but still there are violence in many pockets due to this Ram Navami, procession of the Ram Navami. Hindu Muslims started fighting in many places, and not less than Delhi itself. Fortunately, Odisha has never been affected by such kind of violence, or rent very sparingly. But whatever it is, religion can be such a force that people become blind, not physically blind, but mentally blind. Same thing happens sometime due to politics. During election, post election, it is unfortunate, but it happens in many places. Even in Odisha, after the last panchayat election and all that, we have seen violence. We have seen more violence in Kerala, West Bengal and many other places. But even in a peaceful state like Odisha, we have also seen some violence. Politics also blinds us. It does not allow our reason to think. It does not allow make us verify facts, and the gossip mail, the WhatsApps, the Twitter accounts, these and that, social medias, they spread false news like wildfire on religion and on politics. So, it is just not about physical blindness we are talking of. Blindness means that we do not verify, we do not have a scientific approach to life. So, it is very, very important for each one of us to develop a scientific attitude. Now, in a workplace, somebody comes to you, complains against somebody else. He flatters you first, then tells against somebody else. Without verification, if you believe that fellow, whatever is told to you, if you believe that person, then what happens? You will take wrong decisions. You will not be able to take right decisions. Sometimes a very useful worker may lose his job, and later on you regret, oh, this fellow was there with us, he was doing good. That is what is very important. It is just not, scientific attitude is just not related to your personal life, it is also related to with your work ethics. That is why we are talking of scientific method in decision making process and scientific method even in workplace. Do not promote gossip, do not believe everybody, question his motive, why is he saying this, verify the facts, go by facts, not by emotion. So, that is what is necessary. So, some of the general, you may check the meanings of these words: profession, professional, professionally, professionalism, ethics and professional ethics. This is a work I am assigning you. Now, let us come to other principles of work ethics. Before we go into other principles of work ethics, let us shortly recall the scientific attitude towards life and scientific temper in Odia. वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण, विज्ञान कहले कहुच्छे जे जो कौन सी सिस्टमेटिक स्टडी को अध्ययन को सिस्टमेटिक अध्ययन को विज्ञान कहुच्छे, वैज्ञानिक मेथड बोली कह। तेणु एपरिक दर्शन हो, कविता हो, इतिहास हो, ताकू मध्य साइंटिफिकली पढ़ी हब, ताकू मध्य अध्ययन विज्ञान सम्मत मतर करी हो। विज्ञान सम्मत मत कहले कौन जे गोटाए तो दृष्टिकोण होची जे से गोटे सर्कल रे चलची, कई कई ताकू ट्रायंगल बोली मध्य कहते। कौन ट्रायंगल ना गोटे प्रथमे आम कथाटा को धरी नेले बा ताकू कहले हाइपोथेसिस, एई जिनसटा एमती। से हाइपोथेसिसटा केमती आम ऑब्जर्व करी करूचे जे सूर्य पूर्व दिगरे उदय होछन, सबुदिन मु देखिली, देखिकी ताकू धरली, सेटा को हाइपोथेसिस कली। तेणु जेकोसी गोटे हाइपोथेसिस हला परे ताकू आमे वेरिफिकेशन करू, सेटा ठीक कि भूल वेरीफाई करू। वेरीफाई कर सारा पर वेरीफाई करने वैज्ञानिक मत वेरीफाई करूँ, बेले बेले परीक्षा निरीक्षा करूँ नुह कि कर गोटे हाँ यहाँ आम जोटा कहते सेटा ठीक कि भूल कहूँ। यहाँ अति सरल भाव वैज्ञानिक मेथड कहले यह बुझा जाए। परीक्षा निरीक्षा करवा, वेरीफाई करवा एवं सत बोली जना पड़ला परे ताकू ग्रहण करवा, ये गोटाए दिग। तेणु कर्म क्षेत्र में सबु कथा को वेरीफाई करियो हबो। अनेक समय कर्म क्षेत्र में परीक्षा निरीक्षा करियो हुए, व्यवसाय में लोक परीक्षा निरीक्षा करते। सबू परीक्षा निरीक्षा केवल साइंस लैबोरेटरी रे हुए नहीं, परीक्षा निरीक्षा समग्र समाज जो माने समाज विज्ञान पढ़ुचंती, सोशियोलॉजी पढ़ुचंती, समाज रे परीक्षा निरीक्षा करुचंती। जो माने राजनीति करुचंती से माने बेले बेले परीक्षा निरीक्षा करुचंती नुह कि। तेणु वैज्ञानिक मेथड कहले यहाँ सबू विषय को ये इन्फ्लुएंस करी। अनेक समय कह जाए जे विज्ञानटा पाश्चात्य आसला, से भाया भूल धारणा रखियो नहीं। अति प्राचीन काल में भारत भाया पुराना सिविलाइजेशन, इजिप्शियन सिविलाइजेशन, हाँ यूफ्रेटिस टाइग्रिस सिविलाइजेशन, इराक सिविलाइजेशन, ईरान सिविलाइजेशन, चाइनीज सिविलाइजेशन, रोमान सिविलाइजेशन, ग्रीक सिविलाइजेशन, ये समस्त विज्ञान को बहुल भाव में अवदान रखिंट। मध्य जुगे विशेष करके आरब देश विज्ञान को अनेक अवदान कर परवर्ती काल में यूरोप रु बहुत अवदान आसला। एवं वर्तमान मध्य आम देखुचे जे साउथ कोरिया को, जापान को, भारत को, चाइना को, ये समस्त देश विज्ञान को तेमानकर अवदान भरपूर रही वर्तमान। तेणु विज्ञानटा कार गोटे एकचेटिया अधिकार नुह कि केवल पाश्चात्य बा आधुनिक कथा नुह, ये समग्र मानव समाजर कल्याण होची एवं समग्र मानव समाज रे विज्ञान रे अनेक परीक्षा निरीक्षा चलछि, अध्ययन चलछि। ये गोटे गला वैज्ञानिक प्रणाली, वैज्ञानिक प्रणाली सबु विषय विज्ञान सम्मत प्रणाली। आउ गोटे हूँ दृष्टिभंग, दृष्टिभंग कौन दीटा उदाहरण देली थरे जड़े बाबाजी को कुकुर कामुड़देला तांकर जे सीनियर बाबाजी थे गुरु थे से कहले शीघ्र डाक्तरखाना जाइए गोटे इंजेक्शन नहीं जा ये महात्मा कहले नाई नाई मु बहुत जोग कर आज्ञा विष उपरको आसबनी थरे कौन है से कौन सी कारण खूब रागिगले एवं तांकर आउ साधना काम देलानी से विष सारा देहरे चलीगला एवं से कुकुर भाया भुकिया लगे और मले जदि मु जानी मोर जड़े शिक्षक जे विज्ञान शिक्षक थे से मध्य जाई जड़े डाक्तर जार कौन सर्टिफिकेट नहीं से तो डाक्तर नुह है मिछ डाक्तर से मेडिकल पढ़ी ना आदौ पढ़ी ना पाखे जाकर ऑपरेशन हो गला अर्श ऑपरेशन हो गला एवं से धनुष्टंकार रोग पाई जो इंजेक्शन दवा कथा से दे नथिला जहा फल धनुष्टंकार रोग होकर से ऑपरेशन रे मरीगले विज्ञान पढ़िले वैज्ञानिक एटीट्यूड आसेनी आसीजा कथा विज्ञान छात्र नुह तेणु मुझे वैज्ञानिक मो दृष्टिभंग रखिबेनी ता भी कहबनी बा विज्ञान पढ़ीदे वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिभंग आसी जाएनी ये जीवन को देखिबार गोटे तरीका ये तरीका हूँ वैज्ञानिक तरीका विज्ञान सम्मत दृष्टिभंगी रखा हूँ निहाती आवश्यक तेणु कर्मस्थल धर मो पाखे जड़े आसिक तेलैला मो अनुष्ठान मुख्य मत आसिक तेलातेल कर मत भारी उच्च प्रशंसा कला तापर ऑफिस रे आउ जड़े सांगे जी कम करुच्ची विरुद्ध में विषोद्गार कला एवं मु अनुष्ठान मुख्य हिसाब से तार तोषामदी कथा शुणिली आउ जो विषोद्गार से कला जहाँ विषय से सत बोली मानिनेली ये वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण नुह वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण हूँ मुझे भेरीफाई करी ये गला विज्ञान एवं विज्ञान सम्मत मत एवं वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण या पूर्वर आम जो जुक्तियुक्त कथा कहीचे जुक्तिसम्मत कथा कहीचे रैशनल कथा कहीचे से कथा को यहाँ को मिसेकी एकाठी पड़ो तापर तुम गोटे छोट कम दिखाई विभिन्न शब्द दिखाई हाँ से शब्द गुड़िक तुम्हें डिक्शनरी देख वेबसाइट को विभिन्न जीव बा टेलीफोन रे जो डिक्शनरी अच्छी से शब्द गुड़ाकर अर्थ बुझापी चेष्टा कर परस्पर ठार से टिके किपर भिन्न ता जाना को चेष्टा कर नाउ लेट अस कम टू अदर प्रिंसिपल वी हैव कवर्ड all principle but few other principle out of that we will take up some only these are not directly specified in your course but these are also very important and they are part of your course. Appearance and dress, this is specifically in workplace, in your office, in your college you must be well dressed and what is dressed, what is socially acceptable, what is socially acceptable, that is very important. There is a typical saying in Odia, आपे रुचि भोजन पर रुचि बेसन, that what you wear, whatever the societal style is there is acceptable to people, you must wear that. You can go for great fashion. What can be worn in a fashion show may not be worn in the office, is it not? So, if you are well dressed, then you make an impression. It need not be branded, it need not be very costly dress, but it must be clean, it must be properly ironed and all that. So, you must follow good dress code. If you look shabby, if you are wearing dirty clothes, then naturally your output in the company, your output in the organization will be less. Positive attitude, be confident. We have discussed this several times, I need not go further. Believe in yourself, work hard in a systematic manner. Character, be moral, loyal, honest, dependable, reliable, practice self-control in words and deeds. I think if you think a bit, you will understand all this. Be clear in your communication, all this we have covered. Cooperate with your friends, colleagues, all others in the workplace and in the family, also in the family. Be skillful, be a team person. Networking is very important. Networking means, suppose you are working on a computer, you understand what is a desktop standalone computer. It is not connected with any other computer and it has no internet connectivity. If it has no internet connectivity and this computer has not been connected with anyone, then we will call it a standalone. It is not a networked. Now, if it has internet connectivity, if it is connected with the other computers, then what happens? You can communicate with everybody. So, that is a networked computer. Similarly, in life, you have to learn to network with your friends, with your teachers, sometime with people thousands of kilometers away. So, networking is very important. If you are well networked, then you will be able to help each other. You will to get these things done easily. You can be resourceful, is it not? You must respect yourself, respect others. If you do not respect others, you yourself will not be respected. Okay? Highest level of integrity. You must be very, very honest. Be open-minded. Be disciplined. All this we have covered. Take failures in your stride. Be tolerant. Take responsibility. This also we have discussed. Meet the deadline set by self and institution. Target must be met. Do not procrastinate. Be eager to learn. Creativity is a desired dimension of work ethics. Jugaad technology, that is arranging things. Then what are the qualities of leadership? Leadership qualities need not be confused with leadership position. Let us go back a little. We will talk of in Odia जे जो सब प्रिंसिपल आम बर्तमान सुधा आलोचना करें तार गोटे समरी टाइप्र मु तुमको दि चार्टा कथा कहीदे जे आम भल भाव सफा सुतरा आयरन होकर भल भाव जामापटा पिंधा जोटा फैशन शो रे पिंधती लोक ताकू रास्ता घाट अनेक समय पिंधि हेनी बा अनुष्ठान पिंधि हेनी तेणु आम जो भाव में लुगापटा पिंधा जो फैशन करवा से साधारण लोक ग्रहणीय हम मु गोटे छोट उदाहरण दूँ धर तुम्हें ऑफिस रे बसीच जड़े भद्र महिला बा भद्रलोक आसिले से जोता तले नाल लगे रखिंट सी पचरा कहीं ढक ढक शब्द हो क्लास रे से गोटे नाल नाल लगेवा पिला पुओ हो कि झी हो डेरी रे आसीबो एवं शेष लाइन रे जाके बसिबो एवं पाहाच पर पाहाच चढ़ी जीव सार पाठ पढ़ेबे ना ता जोता शब्द शुणा आम तेणु सामाजिक भाव में आमर वेशपटा ग्रहणीय हवा दरकार सफा सुतरा रहा दरकार इस्त्री फिस्त्री होता बहुत भल आम गोटे सकारात्मक भूमिका ग्रहण करवा सकारात्मक भाव रखा पॉजिटिव भाव रखा तेणु नेगेटिव हवा नहीं निज उपर निजे विश्वास रखा आमर चरित्र भल रहा दरकार आमर कथबार्ता ठीक जब तुम बारंबार कौच मुझे कहू नी ताल तुम कहल कौन तुम जहाँ कहवाई चाहूच तुम जहाँ कहल ता भीतर जदि फरक रहा ताल तुमर कम्युनिकेशन ठीक है तेणु कम्युनिकेशन ठीक हवा दरकार सांगसाथी समस्त सहित सहयोग हाथ बढ़ाइबा खब ऑफिस रे हो घरे हो बाहर हो सहयोग हाथ बढ़ाइबा खब जो कामटा करुचे तार जो तरीका स्किल से स्किलटा हमको आसवा दरकार सेटा को शिखी नवा खब से कंप्यूटर स्किल हो तुम मोटरसाइकेल ठीक करवा स्किल हो बा गोटे कंटा मारिवा घर आवश्यक पड़ला कंटा मारिवार कौशलता हो तुम्हें गोटे कुशली लोक हवा दरकार रोसई हो जहाँ हो सबुथे कौशल अच्छी तेणु कुशली भाव में काम करने जोग कह जाए तो टीम लोक हम बारंबार कहूँ खेल एकुटिया महिमा खेलिले हेनी टीम जितवाई समस्ते मिलमिशिकी खेलले जाए टीम जीति पार नेटवर्क करवा दरकार ताल कौन हम ना परस्पर को साहाय्य कर खाली नुह आवश्यक पड़े तुम्हें साहाय्य भिक्षा कर निजे सम्मान योग्य हुओ एवं अन्य मान को सम्मान करवा सीख मन खोला रख जेतोले फेलुअर आसीबो केतोले केमती फेल मारिबा आमे ताकू आम स्ट्राइड रे नको ताकू भ्रुक्षेप करियो खबनी ठीक अछि खेल रे हार जीत अछि से तो गोटे कथा अनेक समय अन्य काम रे मध्य बेले बेले आमे हारी जाऊ टॉलरेंट हवा अन्य मान को सहयोग करवा दायित्व नवा जो तारीख भितर कामटा करवा कथा से तारीख भितर करवा कौन सी जिनस को खाली घुंचई घुंचई चलवा नहीं शिखापी सब आग्रह रहा एवं क्रिएटिव भाव में क्रिएटिविटी आलोचना आम कर सारीचे एवं जुगाड़ टेक्नोलोजी जहाँ कहते सब जुगाड़ कर व्यवस्था करने को जुगाड़ टेक्नोलोजी बोली गोटे कथा भी अच्छे नाउ लेट अस कम टू क्वालिटीज ऑफ लीडरशिप